And now to Focus for you here on France 24, and a story of real hope for you in today's Focus. We're reporting on the Adapted Military Service Regiment, which was created, in fact, 50 years ago in Martinique, well before the end of conscription. Now, it still exists in France's overseas territories. Its goal to bring underachieving young people back on track. The army providing a framework and job skills to over 5,000 people every year. Kate Russo explains for us.
A few months in uniform in the hope of getting a job. That's what more than 800 young people on the island of Martinique decide to do every year. One such recruit is Kilian, who doesn't mind the constraints of military life.
There's a set time when the lights go out and when we have to wake up. That's normally 5 a.m. Because there are several of us that need to take a shower, it's better to prepare your things in advance and wake up 20 or 30 minutes before everyone else just to have enough time.
On average, these volunteers sign a contract with the armed forces for 10 months.
Come on!
As well as vocational training, they learn about discipline and the rules of society.
Hand me your belt. Reminder, when you put your belt on, the little clips that you see here need to be facing upwards, okay? Always upwards. You're not supposed to see them because they're on the inside. So if I put my belt on correctly, it looks like this. The eyelets facing upwards and the clips on the inside so you can't see them, okay?
I'm here to learn. I have to follow the rules. It's strict, but it's good for us. It teaches us values.
A third of the volunteers are women. The career paths they choose are mostly tourism or home and care services.
Don't mess around and get into credit debt now. Don't start spending more. You're young. If you're 30 and have debt, it's going to be difficult. And once you have children, it'll be 10 times worse. You have to start being careful now.
After she passed her baccalaureate, Jessie tried unsuccessfully to find a job in tourism. The army is now giving her a second chance.
It's a way to make young people feel better about themselves and to tell them it's still possible to improve, change and succeed professionally.
Ryan dropped out of school in his final year and came to the regiment without knowing what area he wanted to specialise in. Now he's learning to use construction equipment.
You're going to back up so that when you pull the lever completely, you'll be able to go to where you just finished. There you go. Close the bucket and empty it.
I wanted to see what it was like in the armed forces, because they teach you discipline. You think you don't really need it, but you realize it's necessary.
That's good. Okay, now back up. If they come here, it's actually because they're looking for discipline. We tighten the screws, and when they come out of here, they're more punctual and rigorous. If he hadn't followed the training that the Adapted Military Service Regiment offers, and instead had gone into a civilian structure, he would still have some flaws that would have been corrected here.
Martinique's Adapted Military Service Regiment offers vocational training in many different industries, all adapted to the local labour market. The regiment's colonel sees it as a public service.
The 800 young people who were with us in 2014 had a hard time finding a job before they started. They come here to learn professional and social skills with the only goal of being employable and to integrate into the real world with our help.
Samuel is a good example. He couldn't hold down a job and tried the Adapted Military Service as a last resort. It paid off. At the end of his contract, he immediately found a job as a bus driver.
The army really tries to motivate you. You're not allowed to say you're tired. Then in your working life, it's the same thing. You're always motivated, never tired, and eager to learn.
Local companies are heavily involved too. They're regularly consulted by the army about their labour needs.
If it goes well, obviously you get a contract. It often goes well. We have a lot of the Adapted Military Service kids here. And they're not really kids anymore because they've been working for us for over 10 years now.
Because the training is constantly adapted to the needs of local companies, over 80% of the people who go through the Adapted Military Service end up with a job. Its success has encouraged the government to try it in mainland France. 7 military vocational training centres will soon be open to the public.